playing these games, and they're going in the woods like to, what is this place where, I mean, even Eisenhower played these games. Even Mike Kemp out in, it's called the Hermitage.
The Hermitage.
In California, where they all they get drunk and they run around nude in the woods and stuff.
Bohemian Grove kind of
That's
thing.
it, Bohemian Grove.
Okay. Rather than Hermitage, it's the Bohemian Grove.
Bohemian Grove, that's the name of it.
Uh-huh.
My brain's tired.
That's okay.
And the one in, there was a big one in Washington called Rush River Lodge, where they used to all go, and there are lots of places now. But the problem, as I see it, is that I think they're trying to destroy America and the basic Protestant Christian culture, because where you have a militaristic society, which is where the rules are only for those people, and keep in mind that Meyer Lansky and Luciano, Lucky Luciano, and the other man, they chose to go to Italy. Luciano went to Milan. He wasn't banished to Naples and Milan. The two top mob families went there because of the weapons industry. They're selling weapons. I mean, that's what the military is doing. It's totally controlled by the mob. Look at this. Weinberger was General Douglas MacArthur's. He spied on MacArthur in Korea. Who was MacArthur's nemesis? Albatross. It was none other than little old intelligence. I'm going to tell every move you make. Weinberger. Young, but he did it. He brought down MacArthur. Every move MacArthur was going to make, he broadcast it through the chaplain, or his little intelligence network. And he got brownie points with the group because he brought down the big lion. When you get rid of a big lion like that, you get a big job. You've done good work. And they needed to get rid of MacArthur because he didn't want to keep the wars going. He wanted it over, and it's like General Trefay, who took over after the Vietnam War was over, and he was on C-SPAN in August of '96 with former Ambassador Whitehead and a few of the other the State Department Vietnam people. And General Trefay, he had been holding this in for years. He was on C-SPAN. This man let it all out. He said, I took over at the end of the Vietnam War. I was in control, right? Big general charge. So I say, cut off the shipment of weapons. So I tell the Pentagon, cut off the shipment of weapons. He said, I got a phone call from Henry Kissinger saying the weapons are going to continue at the wartime rate.
Sure.
Now, that's when all this stuff with China started. It started before then, because already the communist agents, the New York, Brooklyn, New Jersey mob, were already training Mao. Mao was trained in Paris. So was, the one in Cambodia. What's his name? I can't think of his name. The one who was Pol Pot.
Yeah.
They were homosexually, bless their little hearts, by priests. They were wonderful little boys sent there, turned, which is the word, when they believe their mothers, and then all of a sudden the world's horrible, and then they have these wonderful friends who are going to make them leaders.
Yeah.
They're turned psychologically, and it's a pattern. And so this is why it's so important to know what they are doing to innocent little boys in the Army and the Marine Corps today. Why? Why are they having them go together in groups and stripped nude when they're brand new inductees.
Mm-hmm.
Why do they do certain things in public, in front of the group?
Well, they even do that during the pre-induction visit?
Yes.
I mean,
and they also have the doctor.
That's why I didn't want to go in the Army. I knew there was something.
Yeah. But they also turn around the other way after doing that. The other way, and they're upside down. And they do this anally.
Uh-huh.
Now, why do they do that in public? Why are the urinals all out in public, without separate stalls?
Yeah.
If they're not promoting this. And then why is it that the ones who are this way rise up faster than the ones who don't?
Because there's someone there noticing
Yeah, sure.
those
Sure.
who are
Vulnerable.
vulnerable. I was going to say rising, but that wouldn't be quite
They're
appropriate.
called rising stars.
Rising stars.
Rising, that's the word the State Department uses for those who are controlled. And when I was volunteering with the State Department as an escort in Virginia, I had this group called, I thought it up myself, VIVA, Virginia International Visitors Association. And I tried so hard to get to be a part of the State Department family. But I'm a Christian, see, I'm a Protestant Christian, and they don't want Christians in there. My goodness. I would have guests, and I would let them know I was a Christian and that I love them, and Virginia's a wonderful place.
Yeah.
But I couldn't be a part of that.
No.
They sent me people, but I never was a part of it, even though I had lots and lots of dignitaries.
Did you ever have any contact with Madeleine Albright?
No, I lived with Sarah McClendon for about 6 months.
Mm-hmm.
And Sarah is a Democrat. See, I was a Republican all these years. I was married for 21 years to a Democratic governor's grandson. It was an arranged marriage, and so I knew a lot of the high-level Democrats who were really sort of conservative. It's hard, in Virginia, they're very conservative. So when I stayed with Sarah McClendon, I had become a Republican,
Huh.
And Sarah told me a lot of the things that were going on in the White House from her insider perspective, which totally challenged my perspective on everything. Ron Brown was murdered, for example.
Sure.
Vince Foster was murdered. Forstall was murdered.
Tell you what, we're gonna break right here.
Okay.
Because we're just about out of tape, I think, on this in here. This would be a good place to pick up, though. Ron Brown, Vince Foster. I think Foster had a Marine Corps background. Is that possible?
I think so. He may have. I bet he did. That would fit right in.
Yeah.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes, that would fit right in. Because Nussbaum's office was right across the hall.
Okay, we can pop these tapes out, actually.
Okay.
And we're fresh with brand new tapes, the number 2 ones. Let's take a nice little break.
All right. Some of the things he told me, which really startled me and frightened me, was his attitude towards murder, which he said was not murder, because he said emotions are not involved. His cold, calculating view of the destruction of innocent human beings meaning nothing to him, having absolutely no feelings about ordering others to do that.
Now, did he ever carry out some of these murders himself, do you think?
Oh, of course, yeah. In fact, he told me about Malcolm Kerr's murder.
Malcolm Kerr, who's that?
Malcolm Kerr was a British double agent who worked in California. He was one of these these intelligence operatives who worked for both sides.
Okay.
And he had been in California but he was doing intelligence work in Beirut, undercover. He was the head of the American University of Beirut, AUB, which is in Lebanon.
Okay.
Now, my husband was the liaison between the White House and President Jamal, the brother of the first president who was murdered. My husband was involved with assassinations and operations.
Okay.